In the rugged mountains of Turkey, nestled among jagged peaks and endless fields of snow, a startling discovery has been made. It all began with a seemingly routine scan of satellite images, photographs taken from hundreds of miles above Earth's surface. As researchers examined the data, something unusual caught their eye. Amid the harsh, uneven landscape of Mount Ararat, a peculiar geometric shape appeared beneath the ice and snow. Unlike the surrounding natural formations, this anomaly had straight edges and right angles, features that suggested an artificial structure rather than a natural geological formation. The news spread quickly among the scientific community and beyond, sparking a wave of excitement, speculation, and disbelief. For many, the thought immediately turned to the legendary vessel described in the Bible, Noah's Ark. Mount Ararat, a towering volcanic massif, has long been shrouded in myth and legend. Standing over 16,000 feet tall, it is the highest peak in Turkey and is perpetually covered in snow and ice. The mountain's isolation and extreme climate have made it a formidable obstacle for explorers throughout history. Yet, it holds a special place in the minds of those who study ancient texts. According to the biblical story in the book of Genesis, Noah's Ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat after a great flood that wiped out nearly all life on Earth. Over centuries, this story has inspired countless expeditions to locate the remains of the Ark. But the mountain's dangerous conditions and vast size have made conclusive evidence elusive. The historical significance of Mount Ararat is deep-rooted, not just in religious traditions, but also in folklore and the collective consciousness of many cultures. For ancient Armenian communities living in the region, Mount Ararat was considered sacred, a symbol of both divine wrath and mercy. The mountain is often depicted in religious art and has become an emblem of hope and survival against overwhelming odds. Even beyond biblical circles, the idea of a great flood and a massive vessel that preserved life has parallels in the mythologies of ancient Mesopotamia, Sumeria, and other early civilizations. Many explorers, from Marco Polo to 20th century adventurers, have written of their fascination with the mountain, reporting strange sightings of what they believed could be the remains of an ancient ship. The allure of discovering Noah's Ark has captivated scientists, historians, and religious enthusiasts alike for centuries. However, the terrain of Mount Ararat is treacherous. It is characterized by steep cliffs, hidden crevasses, and sudden weather changes that can turn a clear day into a deadly snowstorm in moments. The mountain is also home to glaciers that shift and move, constantly reshaping the landscape and making any long-term search efforts exceedingly difficult. The physical dangers, combined with the logistical challenges of organizing expeditions in a politically sensitive region, have deterred all but the most determined searchers. Yet the tantalizing possibility that the Ark could be resting somewhere beneath the ice has never been fully dismissed. The discovery of the anomaly set off a chain of events, leading to the organization of a highly specialized expedition team. The team was composed of experts from various fields, including archaeologists, geologists, and theologians, each bringing their unique expertise to the project. The archaeologists were particularly interested in the possibility of finding ancient artifacts or structures, while the geologists were focused on understanding the geological features of the anomaly. The theologians, on the other hand, were intrigued by the implications for biblical history and were eager to examine any evidence that might connect the find to the story of Noah's Ark. The logistical challenges of mounting an expedition to Mount Ararat were immense. The team needed to carry out extensive preparations, which included obtaining permits from the Turkish government, hiring local guides familiar with the mountain's dangerous paths, and securing specialized equipment for high-altitude research. Given the harsh and unpredictable conditions, the expedition was planned for the brief summer window, when the weather is slightly milder, and the snow begins to melt, revealing more of the mountain's surface. Helicopters were employed to transport heavy equipment and supplies to the higher elevations, where the base camp was established. Equipped with the latest technology, the team began its exploration. Ground-penetrating radar, a non-invasive tool that sends electromagnetic waves into the ground to detect buried structures, was one of the primary instruments used. Drones equipped with high-resolution cameras and sensors flew over the site, capturing detailed images and video footage that could be analyzed later. The radar scans revealed more information about the anomaly, showing a distinct rectangular shape buried beneath several layers of ice. The structure appeared to be about 500 feet long, consistent with some descriptions of the ark's dimensions from ancient texts. These initial findings fueled the team's excitement and encouraged them to begin excavation. The excavation process was painstaking and methodical. The team had to be careful not to damage any potential artifacts or structures. Using ice picks, shovels, and other specialized tools, they chipped away at the thick layers of ice. As they dug deeper, they encountered a series of wooden beams, unlike any natural formation found in the area. The wood was dark and weathered, preserved remarkably well by the extreme cold. Samples were carefully collected and sent to a lab for carbon dating. The results were astonishing. The wood was dated to be over 4,800 years old, placing it within the estimated time frame of the biblical Great Flood. This revelation sent shockwaves through the expedition team and provided them with a crucial piece of evidence supporting the possibility that they had indeed uncovered the remains of a very ancient vessel. With the discovery of ancient wooden fragments, the team shifted its focus to exploring the interior of the structure. Entering through a narrow opening, they found themselves inside what appeared to be a large enclosed space. The interior was divided into multiple compartments, each separated by wooden partitions. Some of these compartments contained remnants of ancient artifacts, including tools, pottery shards, and pieces of fabric. The tools, made from stone and metal, showed signs of wear and careful craftsmanship. The pottery fragments, though broken, still bore intricate patterns and designs that suggested a sophisticated culture. The fabric pieces, preserved in the cold, hinted at the clothing or coverings that might have been used by the occupants of the vessel. The layout of the interior was equally fascinating. The team noted that the structure was designed with precision, featuring straight, smooth cuts in the wood and carefully fitted joints. There were signs of sophisticated carpentry, suggesting a level of skill and knowledge that was advanced for the time period. Some of the compartments resembled holding pens or cages, possibly intended for storing animals, as described in the biblical account of the ark. The discovery of straw-like material in one section seemed to support this theory, suggesting that it was used as bedding or feed. Despite the compelling evidence, the find was met with immediate skepticism from parts of the scientific community. Critics argued that the structure, while ancient, might not be Noah's Ark, but rather an old trading vessel or a shipwreck that became lodged in the mountains through geological activity. Some suggested that the wooden beams could have been carried to the site by a glacier or landslide, rather than being part of an intact ship. The lack of inscriptions or definitive markings linking the structure to the Ark story left room for doubt, and many researchers cautioned against jumping to conclusions without more thorough analysis. Debate erupted online and in academic circles, with some scholars accusing the expedition team of confirmation bias, interpreting the evidence in a way that fit their preconceived narrative. Others defended the find, pointing out the remarkable preservation of the wood and the unique features of the structure, which seemed unlikely to be explained by natural causes alone. Various alternative theories emerged, ranging from the possibility of it being a relic from an unknown ancient civilization to suggestions that it might be a ceremonial structure built by early settlers who were inspired by flood myths. This skepticism, while frustrating to some, highlighted the need for further investigation. Plans were made for a follow-up expedition that would include additional experts, more advanced technology, and a broader scope of study. The debate underscored the broader implications of the discovery, touching on fundamental questions about the intersection of history, mythology, and science. Regardless of its true origins, the find on Mount Ararat had reignited a centuries-old mystery, opening up new avenues for exploration and research in one of the most remote and enigmatic places on Earth. The discovery on Mount Ararat sent shockwaves throughout the religious communities around the world. As the news spread, it was met with a mixture of jubilation, skepticism, and calls for discernment. For many Christians, Muslims, and Jews, the story of Noah's Ark is not merely a legend. It is a foundational narrative tied to their beliefs about divine judgment, mercy, and the origins of the world's civilizations. The Ark is seen as a vessel of salvation, carrying the righteous through a cataclysmic flood sent to cleanse the earth. The possibility that remnants of this ancient ship had been found on a mountain described in the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran was electrifying. In churches, mosques, and synagogues across the globe, leaders spoke of the find as a potential validation of their faith's sacred texts. Enthusiastic believers gathered in prayer, celebrating what they perceived as a divine revelation. Pilgrimages to the region increased, despite the challenging terrain and the political complexities of traveling to eastern Turkey. Faith-based organizations began to fundraise, hoping to support further research or even plan their own expeditions to see the site. Social media became flooded with posts, videos, and discussions about the implications of the find, with many seeing it as a sign of prophetic significance. Some even interpreted the discovery as a call for humanity to reflect on its moral state, likening modern societal issues to the times of Noah, which, according to the Bible, were characterized by widespread corruption and violence. However, there were also voices of caution among religious scholars and clergy. Many pointed out the importance of rigorous verification before declaring the structure to be Noah's Ark. They argued that while faith is powerful, it should not blind believers to the need for evidence. Acknowledging the historical yearning to find the Ark, these cautious voices warned against allowing wishful thinking to cloud judgment. Some religious leaders suggested that even if the structure turned out to be something entirely different, the pursuit of truth itself is a noble endeavor that aligns with their spiritual teachings. They reminded their congregations that while the physical remains of the Ark might serve as a symbol, the true message of the story lies in its moral and spiritual lessons. As religious and cultural reactions unfolded, the scientific implications of the discovery became a focal point of discussion. The prospect of identifying the structure as Noah's Ark brought with it a series of profound questions about ancient history, human civilization, and the veracity of age-old myths. If this structure were indeed the Ark, it could reshape our understanding of early human societies and their capacity for large-scale construction. It might indicate that prehistoric people had advanced woodworking and shipbuilding skills far beyond what historians have typically believed. Such a discovery could also lend credence to the hypothesis that a major flood event occurred in the distant past, one that was dramatic enough to be remembered across multiple cultures and recorded in their respective mythologies. The video discusses flood myths from ancient cultures around the world, such as the Sumerians, who wrote of Ziusudra, the Babylonians, who chronicled the tale of Utnapishtim in the Epic of Gilgamesh, and even the ancient Greeks who told the story of Deucalion. These narratives all share common themes: a god or gods warning a chosen individual about an impending deluge, the construction of a large vessel, and the preservation of life through this extraordinary means. The idea that such similar stories could emerge independently across different continents has led some scholars to theorize that they might be based on a real, catastrophic event, a hypothesis that this new discovery could help substantiate. From a scientific standpoint, the find could potentially bridge the long-standing divide between myth and history. While the concept of a global flood is generally dismissed by geologists due to the lack of supporting evidence, many experts acknowledge the possibility of significant regional flooding events in prehistoric times. Melting glaciers at the end of the last ice age, for example, could have caused dramatic rises in sea levels, inundating vast areas and leaving lasting impressions on early societies. If the structure on Mount Ararat is indeed part of a vessel, it might be an artifact from a time when such catastrophic floods reshaped human settlements, giving rise to enduring myths of divine wrath and survival against the odds. The international research community was abuzz with anticipation as plans for future expeditions were set into motion. Teams from various countries expressed interest in collaborating, seeing this as an unprecedented opportunity to pool their expertise. The proposed next steps included more extensive excavations, deeper ground-penetrating radar scans, and the use of LiDAR technology to create precise, three-dimensional maps of the site. LiDAR, which uses laser light to detect and map objects hidden beneath foliage or snow, could provide new insights without disturbing the site, preserving its integrity for further study. One of the biggest challenges facing future expeditions was navigating the complex geopolitical landscape of the region. Mount Ararat lies in a sensitive area near the borders of Turkey, Armenia, and Iran, a region historically fraught with political tensions. Diplomatic negotiations were necessary to secure permissions and ensure the safety of researchers. Despite these hurdles, the excitement surrounding the discovery prompted a wave of international support, with universities, archaeological institutes, and private organizations all vying to take part. The project had the potential to become one of the most significant interdisciplinary collaborations in modern archaeology. As teams prepared for their next journey to Mount Ararat, the questions surrounding the site continued to grow. What more could be found beneath the snow and ice? Could the structure contain inscriptions or carvings that might link it definitively to Noah's Ark? Would further carbon dating of additional wood samples align with the previous results, or reveal inconsistencies that might point to a different origin? These unanswered questions added to the intrigue and kept the scientific community, the media, and the public eagerly awaiting updates. The lingering questions left the mystery wide open. Despite the overwhelming excitement, skepticism, and debate, there remained a sense that the discovery had only scratched the surface of what might be hidden on Mount Ararat. Was this truly the Ark described in ancient texts? Or could it be an unrelated, albeit still significant, ancient vessel? If it was the Ark, how did it come to rest at such a high altitude? And what does this say about the ancient flood story? If it wasn't the Ark, what civilization could have built such a structure, and why did they choose this location? The structural features, age of the wood, and artifacts found inside all pointed to a complex story yet to be fully unraveled. For many, the most fascinating aspect of the discovery was the possibility of rewriting a part of human history. If the structure turns out to be the Ark or a similar ancient vessel, it could shift our understanding of early human engineering, navigation, and societal organization. The idea that ancient people could have constructed a ship of such size and complexity, capable of surviving a massive flood, challenges many modern assumptions about prehistoric civilizations. It suggests a level of cooperation, technological skill, and resourcefulness that historians have only begun to recognize. The final moments of the discussion encourage viewers to keep an open mind and continue following the developments of this extraordinary discovery. The story of Noah's Ark has captivated humanity for millennia, not just because of its religious significance, but because it speaks to our deepest questions about survival, the power of nature, and the human spirit's ability to endure through adversity. As scientists, historians, and theologians prepare to return to Mount Ararat, the world watches, filled with anticipation for what might be uncovered next. In closing, viewers are invited to share their thoughts, theories, and questions about the discovery. What do they believe the structure could be? How do they interpret the evidence found so far? The story is far from over, and as new findings emerge, they will have the chance to be part of an ongoing exploration into one of history's greatest mysteries. Whether it is Noah's Ark or another ancient relic, the structure on Mount Ararat has already achieved something remarkable. It has brought together people from all walks of life, united by a shared fascination with the unknown and a desire to uncover the truth hidden beneath the ice. The journey has only just begun,